Hey everyone! So today's video is a little different from my normal stuff, but I had a cool idea that I wanted to share and hear some feedback. I'd like to add a disclaimer and say that I am in no way a video game developer and really have no idea what I'm talking about. So this is just a brainstorm. Now, to give some context, I was/am an avid Escape from Tarkov player. I have about 3,500 hours. I haven't been playing as much recently just because the game's kind of getting a little boring, a little dry. So obviously, while wasting that much time playing a game, I'm sitting there thinking about how it could be even better, things I would change, things that I would like to see. Well, I came up with an idea that I haven't seen anyone else talk about really. I don't even know if it would be possible when it comes to like copyright and game development. I want to see an exfil shooter, the same basic Tarkov gameplay loop, but on it set in the Star Wars universe. The game would be set just after the Galactic Civil War, which is kind of a time of strife and unrest, giving a pretty perfect setting for a looter shooter. Specifically thinking like that gritty right after the Empire falls feeling, where there's kind of uncertainty. The player would be a mercenary or special forces, either for the rebels of the Empire. The player would pretty much be a standalone soldier, similar to Tarkov, kind of on their own, part of a faction, but not really with allies in the area type thing. For the maps, it wouldn't all just be like Tarkov in one city, but instead it would be each map would be a different planet location, and some planets would have more than one map raid location. For example, Tatooine could have like an open desert map that's so classic to the Tatooine countryside, or like woods in Escape from Tarkov, so super open, super good flanking, and like lots of open area. And then also an urban map around like Mos Eisley. Another map would be Endor Forests, maybe some suburbs from Naboo, countryside in Alderaan, Scarif beaches and like Imperial remnants. And then like a map similar to Labs even, I was thinking could be on an Imperial Star Destroyer, or maybe a Death Star, kind of give it some close quarters, high-tech, like high-risk, high-reward loot. Each planet would have unique AI enemies who would be killable for loot quest missions and also add a challenge to the game. So like scavs, think scavs from Tarkov, except these AIs wouldn't just be the same scavs on every map, it would be unique to each planet. For example, on the Tatooine outskirts, there'd be Tusken Raiders who are hostile to the player, and then also bandits who offer maybe some higher level loot. Maybe a bandit boss. Each AI faction would have their own boss who would be worth more XP, harder to kill, and offer equal reward to the risk. Like scav bosses in Tarkov, these would be much stronger, much harder. They'd have a posse around them, but if you kill them, they have the chance to drop some high rarity loot. And then also with the maps comes, I would like to see dynamic events or environments. So I was thinking like a TIE fighter can come flying into a map, maybe on fire, and crash into a spire bbuilding, and then maybe blow a hole in that building and reveal an area that used to only be accessible by having a key. So it opens it up to more players, maybe bring some foot traffic over to that area where there wouldn't be normally. And even then, it seems like most games nowadays have some kind of like dynamic where you can blow through walls with explosives or something like that. That would be pretty neat to see. So like Tarkov, the main gameplay loop would be entering into a location, finding loot to progress the main quest/storyline, and then exfilling with that loot and surviving. The game would be hardcore, challenging, and unforgiving. Hardcore meaning limited HUD, limited tutorial and tips, basically figure it out on your own. This is to foster a community around teaching new players and offer a learning curve, rewarding players for investing time into the game. I think that's something that I really enjoy about Tarkov. If the player dies during a raid, then they'll lose whatever gear they had during the game, including any gear they brought into the raid from their ship. So similar to Tarkov, whatever you bring in and you lose for good. There will be vendors/black market dealers like the vendors in Tarkov who sell items to the players. I want these vendors to be a little bit more fleshed out. I want them to have more items from the game. I want them to have more stuff that players will actually buy from them instead of relying on a player-to-player market like the flea market in Tarkov. Then, so like the items would be the similar to Tarkov. It'd range from guns, armor, ammo, to medical supplies, just garbage, junk, components, intelligence items, food items, whatever really. Stuff for your ship, upgrades, anything. There'll be a main quest storyline and side quest to progress the player along. The quest will reward XP, in-game items, and new items for purchase or possible ship upgrades. I want these to kind of make sense. I don't want them to just feel disconnected or disgruntled. Tarkov does a good job of this, but I think with the Star Wars background, the storyline would add a little bit more to that quest line and make it a little bit more immersive. Instead of a stash like in Tarkov, each player would have their own personal ship, which will have compartments and components that can be upgraded by collecting items. And basically, this ship would just be to add conveniences to the players, similar to Tarkov conveniences being like crafting your own ammo, using a shooting range, upgrading skills, whatever. And then within the ship, the player can modify weapons, put together gear sets, and practice their aim. One thing I don't like about Tarkov is the stash simulator. Sometimes I feel like I'm sitting there staring at my stash, trying to put stuff together for, just as long as I'm in the raid for. I also play a game called Rust, which has a system, an item where it's lockers, and you can preset gear sets up to 5 or so inside the lockers, and then when you want to just pull one out, you just press one button, you equip everything in that locker, in that gear set, and then you're good to go. I think that would be something really cool to add to make it so you can just quickly move from your stash back into raid. Or even, I played a game called Dark and Darker. That game has just a default gear set that each class gets, that might also be a workaround to that stash simulator. Makes it easier to get into raid, faster to get into raid. You're playing the game more than sitting there staring at it. I'm also thinking for that, like, say you have a preset that you like, that you want to bring, close quarters preset. If you don't have everything for that preset in your stash, instead of it telling you, oh, you can't use this, it would maybe offer to buy and like fill out the gear set for you. So you can have presets in the locker as well. That way it's just really quick. I want to be my sniper class this time. Press one button, 2 buttons, and you're in. Similar to Tarkov, guns would need to be modular and need to be able to be manipulated to work for different playstyles. So that's something that I'd have to work around within the Star Wars universe, is their guns aren't very modular, but I'm sure I could figure something out. Ammo types would need to be changed to add some more variety, because I think in Star Wars right now it's pretty much just regular blaster bolts. You could do stuff like supercharge, which maybe does more damage, adds more recoil, quiet ones, kind of like suppressors style things, makes it harder to find where you are. Stun, maybe for AI if you're trying to do a quest where you can't kill them. Might just add a fun aspect to the game, and maybe like rapid fire, which makes your gun shoot faster. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the player-to-player market, like the flea market in Escape from Tarkov, is kind of a point of contention for a lot of players, a lot of people. It adds a lot, but it also takes a lot away from the game. It kind of is an area that causes a lot of problems with real money trading and other stuff like that. So I'm not sure if that would need to be included. I think a workaround would be adding more stuff to the traders and the dealers. That way players don't have to rely on the player market as much. Maybe make some of the dealers give you better offers, better money, so that way you could make more credits without having to sell everything on the flea. It needs to be refined a little bit, at least. I'd have to figure that out more. One thing that I do like about the traders and the dealers in Tarkov is like offering better kits as you level up. Or like in Tarkov, it's when you progress your storyline and you complete quests, but I'm thinking for this game it would be more like as you level up, so reward you for higher levels instead of just being able to do higher tier quests. You could buy better items and ammo, so you reach level 50 and you can buy some of the best ammo in the game versus level 20 and you unlock a new couple like blasters or something. Everything would have to have limited quantities. Ideally, the sound design would make locating other players and AI easy through the use of sound. That's something that Tarkov really struggles with, has for a long time. The sound needs to make the player feel immersed in the raid location, but shouldn't take away from the gameplay, so ambient noises, player sounds, whatever. Proximity chat is a must. That's something that adds so much to the games right now. People love proximity chat. It makes for some really cool interactions with other players, some really funny interactions. So that's something that needs to be ready to go right from the start. Allows players to work together, allows players to have entertaining interactions. If possible, I'd want some kind of community around this game that Escape from Tarkov doesn't really offer. I mean, you can find it in Discord, but not necessarily in the game. It's hard to find. I want players to be rewarded for working together, or maybe have a queuing system where players can join others of their faction and work together instead of being forced to lone wolf and fight like everyone. Or maybe some maps players would be allied to AI. Or like there might be an AI camp that would be allied to them, where they could, have like a little bit more of a safe haven. instead of having to fight literally everything. Yeah, overall, this game would play and feel similar to Escape from Tarkov, but have a unique twist and fix some issues that plague the Escape from Tarkov player base. It needs to be gritty, hardcore, and offer a challenge to players while still being true to the Star Wars universe. Definitely needs to avoid force wielding and just be true infantry / runs experience. It needs to be like, I want it to be gritty, I want it to feel dirty, and I want it to feel hardcore. I would love to play a game like this, but like I said, I'm not sure if it's even possible to get copyright. And just physical restraints to game making. Again, I have little to no experience making video games, so this entire thing is just an idea that I wanted to share. Basically, anything I said that doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense because I don't know what I'm talking about. If you have any ideas or comments or suggestions, or would just like to see a game like this exist as well, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to start some communication about this, see if anybody else thinks that would be a cool idea. Anyway, thanks for watching.